Hello, I'm That Geeky Gamer, and welcome to my show. If I were to say I hate Mondays, love lasagnas, and lazily lie around watching TV all day, you probably wouldn't be all that surprised. However, if I wasn't such a fat sack of laziness, you might have said that I was Garfield.
Yes, Garfield, everyone's favourite cartoon feline. This sarcastic yet lovable orange cat has been a part of popular culture ever since he first appeared in the newspaper comic strips of the late 1970s. Ever since then, Garfield has appeared in everything from comics and animated TV shows to video games and even musicals. Yes, Garfield is one popular little furball that everyone seems to love, so it was probably inevitable that there would eventually be a live-action feature film based on him.
And my fuckity fuck is it bad! I honestly feel sick just thinking about it, so before I lose my lunch all over the screen, let's just jump right into the 2004 Garfield film.
Dear King Lear, is this film awful. It's just so utterly devoid of anything. There's nothing, not one thing to be taken away from this film. It just leaves you feeling completely empty. Anyway, maybe it would be best if I start by explaining my relationship to Garfield. I will admit, I'm not the biggest fan, and I never really was. However, I did read a fair amount of Garfield comics when I was younger, and for the most part I enjoyed them. I also remember watching a few episodes of the animated show Garfield and Friends, and I again remember that as a pretty good show. In later years, I haven't really read or seen much of Garfield's escapades, so I might not be completely up to date on any new developments the character or his various worlds have gone through, but I would definitely say that my knowledge about Garfield is more than adequate.
Man, I'm pathetic.
Let's just get this over with before I kill myself with a rusty nail. So, as the film begins, we're introduced to our main character, Garfield. Duh. And already there's a little bit of a problem. As you can clearly see, Garfield is computer animated, and while that's not really a problem in and of itself, it does raise a few questions. For instance, why the hell is Garfield the only thing in the entire film that's animated? Seriously, not one other character, either human or animal, is animated. Only Garfield. Okay, so maybe it would be difficult to get a real-life cat to do some of the things Garfield does in this film, but still, it just comes off as really weird. I mean, there are several other animal characters in the film, and while they don't go through anything quite as complicated as Garfield occasionally has to, they do talk and interact with one another. I guess what I'm saying is that, in my opinion, making Garfield the only animated thing in the entire film makes most of the scenes very jarring, as it doesn't really feel like Garfield belongs in them.
Isn't that great? The film has barely started, and I've already been able to find something to bitch about! That's usually a good sign!
So, as the opening credits continue to roll, we see Garfield doing his usual shtick, waking up John, disturbing him in the shower, swapping his food for cat food, and so on. Garfield then goes outside for some more shenanigans involving Nermal, who doesn't really come off as a cute and innocently gullible kitten like he did in the comics. No, instead, he comes off more as an annoying dimwit who probably couldn't tell the difference between his own tail and a fucking snake.
The milk truck comes every day.
Yeah, but maybe not today. We're cats, we like milk. I can see the whole neighborhood.
The ice might not be. Brain no work good.
Anyway, after using Nermal to get some milk, Garfield crosses the street because he spots a pie sitting on a windowsill. However, his path is blocked by a dog whom Garfield has to get by first.
You're on the wrong side of the street, fat cat. Beat it!
And you, Luca, the wrong side of the evolutionary curve.
Okay, that's it. You're gonna get it good today.
I make a point to get it good every day.
Yeah, dog gets his chains tangled up and Garfield gets pie. Surprise, surprise. By the way, think the voice of the dog sounds familiar but can't quite place it? Well, maybe this will help.
Everybody loves Raymond.
And before you ask, yes, that is Bill Murray as Garfield, and I have to say, he is the only thing even remotely enjoyable in this film.
That's very nice.
I mean, he seems to be the only one who gets his character and tries to have some fun with it. He seems to be the only one who gives a damn. Everyone else is either bland as hell, forgettable as fuck, or just downright awful. Like Breckin Meyer, the guy who plays John, Garfield's owner.
I think I know where this is going.
Dear lord, is this guy awful. Seriously, I don't think there's a single scene he's in that doesn't make me cringe. He's just so fucking bad.
I knew that. I'm sorry.
So anyway, some of you may be wondering when the hell I'm gonna get to the story of the film. So far, it's basically consisted of a bunch of very minor and rather insignificant scenes that don't really go anywhere. And guess what? There's more of them! Super!
There's a scene where John spots a mouse and tries to get Garfield to chase it, which he, of course, doesn't do. Then there's the scene where Garfield watches TV and delivers one of the worst fourth wall jokes ever to be conceived.
That cat's puss is everywhere. TV, newspapers, t-shirts. Who would want that kind of exposure?
So yeah, these opening scenes don't really contribute much to the overall storyline. I guess they're meant to try and show the dynamic between Garfield, John and the others, but it doesn't really work that well. The scenes between Garfield and the rest of his animal friends fall especially flat on their ass, considering most of these friends will have no influence on the rest of the film whatsoever. Hell, most of them don't even show up again for the rest of the film, except for maybe a one-line clip here and there that could just as well have been left out. Basically, the first 10 or so minutes of this film are completely pointless. Anyway, the actual story kind of begins when we're introduced to our protagonist for the film, Happy Chapman. I say kind of because the story still doesn't really get going, but at least our main protagonist and his motivations are introduced to us. The ground rules get established, so to speak. Anyway, Happy Chapman, played by Stephen Tobolowsky, is a seemingly happy and cheerful host for some sort of animal segment on some morning TV show. However, beneath his public appearance as a happy-go-lucky animal lover, Happy Chapman is actually cranky, somewhat rude, and not that fond of animals.
The segment went quite well. I thought the segment went quite well. Of course it went well, you toad. The 50 housewives who saw it loved it.
Oh, the horror!
Yeah, so this guy isn't exactly intimidating, but then I suppose he wasn't really intended to be. It also turns out that Happy Chapman has an identical twin brother named Walter, who's a newscaster. 2 guesses as to how Happy feels about him.
And everybody always said I was the handsome one. I was the smart one. And I was born first. But there you are, live from The Hague, and here I am working with this sack of dander on a dead-end regional morning show.
Back to you, Dan.
Yep, he just loves them.
Oh, please, what a know-it-all.
No, of course he resents him for having a better job and for being more successful than him. This doesn't really matter though, as once again, we only see Walter Chapman one more time in a very brief throwaway scene at the end of the film. At any rate, back with John and Garfield, Garfield has just scarfed down 4 lasagnas and is lying on the floor overly stuffed. John decides to take Garfield to the vet, which is basically just an excuse for him to visit Dr. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Boy, this film is just so believable, isn't it?
So yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt plays the girl of John's dreams, Dr. Elizabeth Wilson, or Liz as John calls her, and I have to say, she is nothing like the Liz I remember from the comics.
Isn't that funny?
Now, I may be way off on this one since I haven't really read the comics in quite a few years, but from what I remember, Liz almost never smiled. She was kind of sarcastic and annoyed by John's clumsy advances. Here though, she's always so perky and smiling, and she comes on to John more than he comes on to her. Hell, even John doesn't believe her advances most of the time.
We could all go out together. Park, dog show, stuff like that.
Wait a minute, are you asking me out?
Again, just so fucking believable, isn't it?
I mean, not only is this completely wrong for this character, but it's just so believable that this beauty would be even remotely interested in this beast. And as if it isn't bad enough that they completely changed Liz's character, they had to give the role to Jennifer Love Hewitt. Seriously, she may be pretty attractive, in fact, she is, but she is one of the worst actresses alive.
What?
I'm sorry, but it's true. She very, very, very rarely delivers a good or even decent performance, and she is almost always completely forgettable. She is just completely void of life.
Come to think of it, maybe that's why she fitted in with a bunch of ghosts so easily.
So, after we're introduced to Liz, we finally get to the heart of the story. Liz tells John that she wants to ask him a favor, which he hilariously mistakes as a come-on.
Oh, if only Liz actually was interested in John, then there might be a chance that she would ask him out, and no wait, she does not 2 minutes later, so yeah, that was pretty pointless. Idiots.
Anyway, the favor Liz wants is for John to adopt a dog named Odie, which, true to form, looks almost nothing like the original Odie. At any rate, John, of course, agrees to adopt the dog, and there is your basis for the film's storyline, ladies and gentlemen. John adopting a dog. No, I'm serious. The entire plot revolves around John adopting Odie and Garfield becoming jealous of the new pet in the house. Gee, that doesn't sound familiar at all, does it? Oh, please tell me Garfield gets Odie in some sort of trouble which he's okay with at first, but then feels really guilty for almost immediately afterwards.
Yay! For a second there, I was worried this film might have some original ideas, clever plot twists, or something unique to offer, but nope! They stuck with the same generic crap we've seen a million times before. Awesome!
Oh, okay, to be fair, it might not be that easy to come up with something all that unique and interesting for a Garfield film, but couldn't they at least have tried? I mean, this has to be some of the most formulaic kids' film storytelling possible. We'll get into the unbelievably generic storyline a bit later, but first we have to sit through some hilarious antics between Garfield and Odie. They fight over Garfield's favorite chair, Odie causes Garfield's milk getting set up to backfire on him, and Odie also gets to sleep in John's bed, even though Garfield never gets to.
I think I'm going to blow cat-chow-chunks.
You and me both. Not that I eat cat-chow. Much.
So the next day, John and Liz take Odie to a dog show called... Oh, fuck you, film. So, unknown to John and Liz, Garfield has managed to sneak along to the dog show, and while there, he manages to create a bit of a riot because a bunch of highly trained dogs can't resist the temptation to chase one fucking cat.
Oh yeah, because most of those dog show dogs are just so fucking disobedient, aren't they?
So all of the dogs chase Garfield around the showgrounds, and to try and settle things down, the show arranger starts playing some music. In and of itself, this seems like a pretty dumb idea, which it is, but when Odie hears the music, he runs out on the show floor and starts dancing. The crowd finds this so cute and entertaining that they completely forget about the chaos they witnessed just a few moments ago. Oh, but how could they not, when the film practically shoves Odie's cuteness right up in their face? Oh, look at him go, he's so cute, isn't he cute? He's so cute, oh, he's so cute, isn't he cute?
Oh!
After Odie finishes his dance routine, he receives a standing ovation from both the crowd and the judges. Happy Chapman expresses his desire to put Odie on television to John, but John isn't interested. Oh gee, I wonder if this will fit into the story somehow. Anyway, since Odie was so good, he doesn't just get a lot of applause, no! He gets first prize in the show, even though he wasn't even entered! Boy, this is a fair decision! Every contest works like this, right? Fuck it, let's move on. When they get back home, Garfield is still a bit upset about all the attention Odie's getting.
Why has this happened? I was the one. It was all about me. Not about some stupid, sniveling, smelly, high-maintenance disco dog.
Wow, that's some conveniently placed interior, isn't it?
So, as punishment, Garfield is put out on the patio for the night. Odie comes out to comfort him, but Garfield simply walks in through the cat flap and locks Odie outside. This turns out to be a pretty bad idea since Odie, being a stupid dog, can't help but chase after the first moving object he sees. He keeps chasing various vehicles throughout the city and eventually gets lost. The next morning, after failing to find Odie, John starts putting up flyers everywhere and calling around to see if anyone's found him. Garfield also starts feeling guilty, and just when he thinks he can't take any more of the guilt, he discovers that Odie has been found and put on TV by none other than Happy Chapman. After failing to get John's attention, Garfield decides to head for the big city and get Odie back himself.
Now, I'm gonna be the hero.
The rest of the film is pretty much just Garfield searching for Odie in the city and at the TV station. The only other significant thing that happens is Happy Chapman attempting to use some sort of shock collar on Odie to make him do more advanced tricks much quicker. Other than that, the rest of the film really is just Garfield going around searching for Odie, occasionally being part of some oh-so-hilarious gag, while John and Liz also search for both Odie and Garfield. Eventually, Garfield finds Odie and rescues him, and John and Liz find out that Happy Chapman is the one who has John's pets. The film ends just about as predictably as you might think. Odie and Garfield get reunited with John and Liz hook up, and Happy Chapman gets arrested.
And that's the Garfield film. Now, you may think I skipped over a pretty big part of the ending, but trust me, it's all just pointless filler. In any case, this film is not bad. No. It's fucking horrible!
The story is crap, the acting is horrendous, the CG doesn't really work, and although it's not exactly unfaithful to the source material, it does make some truly idiotic changes. It's just stupid. The only thing slightly enjoyable some of the time is Bill Murray, and that's mostly because it's Bill fucking Murray. The rest of the film is completely devoid of any form of entertainment, and only the most brain-dead, slack-jawed, moronic, retarded babies could possibly find any form of redeemable value in this steaming pile of cat crap. And even that's questionable.
If you ever come across this abomination, stay away. No, better yet, blow it up. In fact, blow up the entire store that has it, because anyone who could sell this wretched piece of garbage with a clear conscience doesn't deserve to live.
Warning, these statements are purely for satirical purposes. That Geeky Gamer and all affiliates are strongly opposed to the bombing of any locations and or persons and does not endorse any such actions. Although this film and anyone involved with it does deserve to die.
Well, I think we've all had enough of this film, at least I have, so I'm going to wrap this up now. Thank you for watching, I hope to see you all next week, and until then, kill anyone who comes bearing this film. Bye.
We're ready to party!
We're ready!
I hope you bring lots of spaghetti.
I'm scared! Come on in, come to the place where